Yo, what's up guys, welcome back to another video. This is a reaction to Joe Biden wants to unleash grizzly bears on a rural community. Also, government cheese caves exist. I don't really know what the context of this is, but the title caught me off guard and I was like, yeah, I need a bit of that. I assume this guy sort of just goes over like random sort of news stories, but I can't say I know too much about him, so I could be wrong. But we're going to check this out and see, hopefully going to enjoy. And let's check this video out and see what the hell is going on here.
But I promise you it's just me being anti-bear. Okay, I'm just gonna be honest with you. I don't like bears. Anytime bears are involved, it's not gonna be a good time.
Oh,
okay,
factual.
the Chicago Bears, terrible football team. A
Fair.
bear market, that means the economy's doing bad. And then you have grizzly bears, which are absolutely terrifying. So when I wake up one day and this is in the headlines, obviously
Biden admin plan to release predator near rural communities. Oh my days.
I'm gonna get a little bit upset, okay? It reads like I'm living in the Hunger Games. Basically, the Capitol is gonna start systematically releasing grizzly bears near rural communities. I'm not about it. But like an adult, I realize that news headlines are pretty misleading, so I read the entire article and it's pretty accurate. Basically, the federal government wants to release 7 grizzly bears every year for the next who knows how long into this area in Washington state, and they want to get that number up to 200 grizzly bears. Which brings us to the obvious question, why the fuck would you do that? And I have looked and looked for an answer to this, and as far as I can tell, the only reason they want to start reintroducing bears into this part of the country is because fuck it, bears used to live there and bears are cool, I guess, is what their strategy.
That's the last thing I'd be wanting to be added to an area that I live in. Bloody grizzly bears.
Is, which, first of all, no, they're not cool, okay? This isn't a fucking Disney movie. That's not Baloo talking about the bare necessities in the forest. That's a 700-pound meat missile covered in fur that can run 35 miles an hour that eats its prey ass first, okay? There's nothing cute about that. Do you understand the gravity of what I've just explained to you? Brock Lesnar weighed 265 pounds when he was the world heavyweight champion. This bear is equivalent to 3 Brock Lesnars running at you at 35 miles an hour, and to put that into perspective, Usain Bolt tops out at 27.5 miles an hour. Okay, the average American can't outrun heart disease. We're definitely not going to be outrunning fucking grizzly bears if it comes to that. And I can hear the comment section already. Buh, you know, actually bears are more scared of you than you are of them. Buh. No, that's not true.
No.
That's some shit your dad told you when you were 7 years old on your first camping trip so that you would shut the
That's
fuck.
the stuff you hear about spiders. They're more scared of you than you are of them, which also isn't true, although it probably is. I mean, they're tiny. But I'm just as scared, man. But when it comes to bears, let's be real. They're not scared of shit.
Fuck up and go to sleep so we could bang your mom in a tent, okay? That's not reality. And then you get all the environmentalist people, but you know, the ones that live way far away from this area, because environmentalists never advocate for shit when it's actually in their own backyard and it affects them. But they're gonna say some shit like, oh, you know, the humans eradicated those kind, gentle creatures, and they used to live in that area, so we should really bring them back. No, okay, we used to have dinosaurs too, and there's an entire movie series about why bringing those back is a terrible idea, okay? Maybe we got rid of it for a reason. Have you ever thought of that? Because last I checked, the easiest way to get a city named after you on the West Coast is to get killed by a grizzly bear, and then they just name a city after you. And then we have to address the elephant in the room, because whether you're left, right, or center on the political spectrum, you have to admit that there is an extra layer of comedy in the fact that Joe Biden, of all presidents, wants to start releasing grizzly bears. Okay, look, I'm not a political analyst or like somebody whose opinion you should take very seriously, but I do think it's kind of bad taste to, on one hand, be like, I want to ban powerful guns because I don't think people need them. Also, I'd like to start releasing grizzly bears indiscriminately. Okay, look, I don't ever want to get asked why I need a high-capacity magazine ever again. There's never been a better excuse.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair. Especially if you're in the region and there's more bears being added. That's probably a reason to maybe want to have your guns to fight off a big-ass bear. It's just basically getting rid of the way like you can end up protecting yourself from a bear if you're going to get attacked. It's probably not the best way to go about it, is it?
Used to have access to a lot of bullets than the federal government colluding with grizzly bears. I mean, this has to be a joke, right? Like somebody at the White House is just being petty, like these goddamn gun nuts want the right to bear arms, we're gonna give them the whole fucking bear. Okay, look, regardless of whoever's in office, whether it's a Democrat or a Republican, all I'm saying is that the federal government can't do anything without fucking it up. Okay, this is a terrible idea. You know what? Let me give you an example off the top of my head. In 1920, the United States government banned alcohol, okay? And overnight, every bar in the country either had to shut down or get turned into an ice cream parlor.
I'll still never fully understand that, man. That's just crazy to think. That's 100 years ago. And like you can see how important alcohol is for, I guess, like British culture, American culture. Like, it is a very important thing, as bad as that probably sounds, because alcohol obviously isn't the best thing to have as your cultural sort of pastime. It is. And the fact that it was just banned like that, I'll never wrap my head around that.
So a bunch of them did. And then you have all these people that would hang out with their buddies at the bar, and now they're hanging out at the ice cream parlor. So in many ways, ice cream filled the social gap left behind by alcohol. Got that? Okay, wow. Wonderful. By 1924, people didn't quit drinking alcohol as much as the US government would like, so they decided that they were just going to start poisoning alcohol and giving it out to Americans.
Crazy.
41 of them died for sure. Some estimates go up to as many as 10,000 being poisoned. Okay, fast forward 1933, Prohibition gets phased out, but you have an entire generation of children that grew up eating ice cream every day because it was the social bond that held America together, because it had replaced alcohol. So the United States government needed to have a bunch of milk because they were going off to World War II and all their soldiers loved eating ice cream and frozen dairy treats. This is why to this day every Navy ship has an ice cream machine on it, and it's like mandated by naval code or whatever. And because the US government needed all this ice cream to feed their army, they needed a bunch of milk to make that ice cream with. And dairy farmers weren't even a thing yet because refrigeration had just come out, and it had never been feasible for one man to just harvest a bunch of milk from a ton of cows. It had never been done before in human history. And at first, it works out great. Okay, fast forward, World War II ends, the Allies win, the world is saved from the Nazis and the Imperial Japanese. Hooray. Now, the army went back home, they can buy their own ice cream, and these dairy farmers don't have anybody to sell all this milk to, and the government's not about to let the dairy industry just collapse because they're the ones that convinced all these people that they had to become dairy farmers in the first place. So the government is like, fuck it, I'll buy all the milk. And then the government's like, what do we do with all this milk? And somebody says, hey, let's turn it into cheese. That way it can sit on a shelf for a little while without going bad. Then all this cheese started stacking up, and they're like, fuck it, we're just gonna go hide it in a mountain in Springfield, Missouri. So that's what they did. They just kept shoving cheese into these caves every year, and every new president that came in, they're like, he has to sit through the briefing where they're like, yo, guess what? The US government is buying all this milk, turning it into cheese. There's a mountain of cheese in Springfield, Missouri. In real life, it's a thing.
That is the most Springfield thing. Like, if there was a place called, like, well, places called Springfield, obviously I think of The Simpsons, but that is the most sort of Springfield-ish story that you could imagine to come from a town or a city like that.
We can't stop buying the cheese. We don't know what to do with it. Then Ronald Reagan gets elected, and he's like, we're spending $1 million a day in refrigeration for a bunch of cheese that nobody's eating. We have to get rid of it. So he proposes to the US people, hey, hear me out. I've got 500 million pounds of cheese. I want to throw it in the ocean. Okay, they get mad and they're like, no, we paid for the cheese. We would like the cheese at a minimum. You've taken our money. You've turned it into cheese. Give us the fucking cheese. Okay, it's a relatable human emotion. So the government cut up all the cheese into 5-pound blocks and started handing it out to people. And this is where government cheese comes from. Okay, so that goes on for a while. Fast forward, Bill Clinton ends up getting elected. And he's like, I have an idea about how to solve this milk cheese cave situation conundrum. I'm going to go to the FDA. I'm going to have them form an offshoot nonprofit company known as DMI. Dairy Management Incorporated, except this isn't going to be a non-profit where like they take charitable donations. No, we're going to make it a legal requirement for every dairy farmer in America to give these people a portion of their money so that they can advertise for them, because apparently milk and cheese isn't good enough on its own. Okay, if you're not picking up what I'm putting down, I'm trying to tell you that the Got Milk ad campaign that was in every school cafeteria for like 3 decades is a government-funded psychological operation to convince people to drink more fucking milk because the US government fucked up buying ice cream in the 1940s. And now they want me to not own guns while simultaneously trusting their ability to systematically release fucking grizzly bears.
That is without a doubt the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
Okay, I'm done. I need a beer.
Bro, you just went on this rant about cheese.
I gotta go. Thanks for watching. Best way to support the channel is go buy some merch over thefatelectrician.com.
Oh, man. Well, there we go. I mean, this is 6 months ago, so I don't know what happened since. Like, have bears been released? Had it already been started when this this news report came out? Bears used to live in California. They should release them in LA and San Francisco and get the numbers up again. When it comes to bears, always trust the government, the 45 to 70 government, not any other government. They need to release Kodiak bears in every state capitol building as well. Fair enough. But yeah, this whole unleashing grizzly bear stuff, has this actually come to fruition? Has it actually been done? Because if that's the case, then man, I mean, if that was me personally, I would not be happy, bro. If there were grizzly bears being released near me, No, thank you. That's all I'm going to say. But yeah, hopefully you enjoyed this reaction. And until next time, let's subscribe and peace.